Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about Michael DUVALL. Michael is currently, unfortunately, like I said in a recent video, he's going viral for all the wrong reasons. And on top of going viral, he is also losing a huge amount of followers. It's over on TikTok where this mass unfollowing is occurring right now, but we're going to talk for a few minutes about it. This is something, unfortunately, it's just one of those things where it's like, why would this even happen? Why would this cross your mind as to something that was acceptable to do? I have a lot of questions and it's very alarming, but we're going to talk and go over all of it. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys. So Michael is a 25-year-old TikToker who lives, I believe he lives in the state of Kentucky. And he had a pretty big following. Before all of this happened, he was on the road to 1 million followers on TikTok. And that is a huge milestone for somebody to reach. But the reason that right now he's sitting at 885,000 followers instead of close to 1 million is because there has been a conversation regarding specific content that he was making when he was an employee of a daycare center. Now, I cannot show these images on YouTube. I just can't, and nor would I want to, because they're very disturbing. Now, before all of this was kind of uncovered and going viral, Michael was known to be, his bio says, just a pretty boy with heart emojis. And his aesthetic, as y'all can imagine, is the complete opposite of mine. He's very pink, girly, frilly stuff. And he had people that were interested in it, and he would do shopping vlogs and, you know, kind of your run-of-the-mill influencer kind of stuff. But let's focus on what's actually important here and not pink cups and neon lights. Let's talk about the real conversation. I think all of this kind of blew up based on what I have seen. It's because Michaela sent a PR package to Michael. And Michaela, who's also obviously a very popular influencer, she just released skin prep, makeup prep skincare. I wouldn't spend a penny on anything that Michaela launches. I think she's a dishonest influencer, and I don't think that she's even remotely close to being in a seat of giving or formulating skincare recommendations for me. So one of these PR boxes was sent to Michael, and people were super upset about it, and then this whole conversation kind of erupted regarding who he is and why he shouldn't be getting PR and why these brands should be doing far more research on who's getting these PR packages. And I talked about this 4 years ago. As a brand, you have teams of people that do certain things within your company, right? You usually have a PR department. And within that PR department, you should have at least 1 or 2 people who formulate the lists of who's going to get a PR box from us. Let's make the list. Let's go down the list and see, are these people respected online? Is it somebody that we would want our brand to align with? Because even if it's not a sponsorship, you're still saying, hey, we like you enough to send you free products. So that's enough on the whole PR thing. There should be people within these departments that look into who's getting these boxes. Well, they didn't do that. He got a box and people were pissed off. Now, he has come back with a video and he's saying he's taking accountability. Spoiler, he's not taking accountability. And before I watch the video with y'all, this is such a sensitive topic. Imagine if you were a parent or a guardian of a child and you take your child to pre-K and you drop them off at the building and, you know, you're supposed to be driving out of there fully trusting the people that are spending the next few hours or full day with your child or your children. If you were to have uncovered that there was a guy in his early 20s making content for his OF in a bathroom where there was a child's training seat on the toilet, I cannot imagine the level of disgust and anger that that would ignite in a parent or a guardian of a child that went to this daycare. And the last thing that I want to say about this before we get into his video is you knew what you were doing, because I've seen the photos and you would use captions like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this here. And I am never here to come down on people that choose to make that kind of content. If you want to make that kind of content, fine, that's your choice. You're a legal adult, do what you want. However, time and a place. There's always time and place for anything in life. And if you think that doing that, I don't care if you were on the clock or off the clock, you are doing that in a building where there are children on the other side of that door. And you can sit there, because I've already watched this video once. He's going to try to say, oh, it was a teacher's bathroom, blah, blah, blah. No. We've seen the photos. There is no reason why there would be a child's training seat on a toilet that was meant for teachers on the upper level of the daycare. I don't even know if this daycare center has 2 levels, because I don't know what the daycare center is called. Let's get into the video and I'll give my commentary throughout.
What's up, girly? I just had 2 really sweet girls from a church come knock on my door, and they pretty much said, like, do you remember requesting to learn about the word of Jesus? And so I just said no, but I have a lot of followers. I'm getting a lot of hate right now, so that's who sent you. And they were really nice, really understanding, and then they went on their way. But I figure we need to address it, or else people will never know the truth. People will never know my story. I've never been...
Number one, I don't like how he claims that 2 church people came to his front door. I don't buy that for a second. But the reason that you're addressing it is not because you know that it was disgusting and wrong. You're addressing it because you're bleeding followers. And as he says in this video, he is obsessed with money.
I've been great at words, so that's why there's going to be cuts in this. But I guess let's just start from the very beginning. And 2020 is when I made my OnlyFans. And I wasn't very successful on it, and I was unemployed, and I didn't really post a whole lot. So I had it in 2020, used it for like probably not even a year, and then I dropped it. And so in 2021 about is when I met my ex-fiance, and we got engaged in 2022, and we also broke up in 2022. But I would say that this whole OnlyFans story starts from when we were still together. So while we were still together, we were very much struggling with like sex and like just having that appeal with each other. So one thing he suggested to kind of get us going was for...
What I want to say, this entire spiel that he puts in here about his ex-fiance, ex-partner, whatever, is completely unnecessary. If you are coming onto a video and you are saying that you're taking accountability, you remove all parties from that conversation aside from yourself. This video should focus on you, your words, your actions, your decisions to make gross content in a daycare, your situation, not what everyone else did, how someone else made me feel, oh this, oh that. Like, there's already no accountability, and we are a minute in.
For me to restart my OnlyFans, and then if I was making money from what we were doing, we would be like more motivated to do it more often. That was never enough, and then it went from doing that to he convinced me to do threesomes. So we did a couple threesomes, and now his parents were swingers, so it makes sense that he would be into all this stuff that I was never going to be enough. But I rode with it because we just got engaged and I was trying to stay together. I didn't want to be alone. After the threesomes weren't really doing much for us, it just got to a point where he would go hook up with people, and it was okay if we saw other people pretty much. I never did it, but he did it a lot of times. I said no whenever he first suggested that I start my OnlyFans, and then it was a lot of convincing. So then I started it again, and then it was a lot of convincing for the threesomes. It was a lot of convincing for the doing it with other people. And then it got to the point where we broke up anyways. Now, a lot of people know why we broke up. He was very much abusive. He had anger issues. I mean, not just physically abusive, but mentally abusive. And the thing is, when you're gay, one of you's the bottom, one of you's the top, typically, not always. And so I was the bottom. And
this whole part of the video just pisses me off, because how are you going to come on here and say that you're here to take accountability and then go in for 3 to 4 minutes of the video and you're talking about what you and your ex-fiance's bedroom habits were? Nobody cares about that. We care about what you did in the daycare. Let's get to that part, Mike.
I just wasn't putting out as much as he wanted. He ideally wanted that every single day. And so that's why I was like, well, for us to be happy together, I'm fine with you doing it with other people. Was I living a happy life? No, I was completely miserable, and we ended up breaking up anyways. And after we broke up was whenever I really started going down. So after we broke up, I just started living on my own for the first time ever. And I was already doing kind of well for my OnlyFans. From us posting content together, I had like 360 subs, which is a lot of money a month. I was getting a lot of money a week. So when we broke up, that's what I focused a lot on. And it's embarrassing how hard I try hard at it. I used to do so many things that I just don't do anymore, like wear wigs, like dress feminine, just wearing lingerie. And like every single day I would try hard at it. I would come home from work and I would try it. I would wake up in the morning, I would try it, and obviously I would be at work and I would try it. Now, growing up how I did, it's no shock that I was really excited.
At the end of the day, from what I've seen, nobody cares about having a site. Lots of people do that. But again, it's the time and the place. It's who you are catering to. Even if you want to say that you weren't catering to specific people, you absolutely were. There is no reason why any logical thinking person would be sitting at their job at a daycare, surrounded by very young children, and think, let me go over there and do this for my site. Those two just, I don't even understand how you can be in that frame of mind when you're in an establishment that's filled with children. That is just so far unhinged from any form of reality. We're not talking about, oh, you have a site and what you did to get subscribers. Nobody cares about that. We are still not focused on the issue at hand. And this is a 10-minute video, which is 9 minutes and 30 seconds too long.
As you know, I was working as a preschool teacher, technically pre-K, pre-kindergarten, and so I had a lot of free time at work where I would post on those apps. I did go to the bathroom a few times and snap a nude. A lot of the reason why I did that was because I was getting paid by people, and now when I said that, people thought I was getting paid by like I don't know if you can say this word, PDF files, you know what I'm trying to say. People thought I was catering to them, and now with some of those Reddit groups I was in, I should not have been in. They were definitely like dad, son, trans girls. I got kicked out of a lot of groups.
You were catering to them. You literally just admitted that people were paying you to take photos at work. Why do you think that they were paying you to take photos in that location? They were paying you because they were PDF files, and you were taking the money. Disgusting.
Or like not even fitting the criteria. And it was definitely weird, but when you're in sex work, I don't know. I was just too blinded by the money that was coming in. I know that's no excuse. So then fast forward to the day I took my first nude at work. I honestly don't remember it, but I do remember that I would get paid like say $45 to take a picture. They'd say, go take it, and I would. Now, I never did any of this while clocked in. I wasn't allowed to have bathroom breaks like that unless it was an emergency, of course. So
it does not matter if you were clocked in or clocked out or clocked sideways. It matters what you were doing in this building when there were children on the other side of the door. Because there's two things that he did. There were photos and then there was a video. And in that video, you can hear that there were other people not too far away, including children. So we don't care if you were on the clock or off the clock, because everything coming out of your mouth is a lie. And now you've said numerous times you're obsessed with the money. So why do you think that you're on here making this video? It's because you're losing followers. You don't care about what you did. You care that you're losing followers, and followers equals money. And money is clearly his obsession. He was willing to take money from PDF files to take photos in the frickin' daycare bathroom. Jesus Christ.
When I was in the bathroom, I was upstairs, classrooms were downstairs, I was far away from everyone in the teacher's bathroom that was locked. That's another thing people are confused about, because they see that the toilets had like little training seats on it, and there was 2 toilets in the bathroom, which was kind of weird. And I think like originally a long time ago, those were kids' bathrooms and we would use them in an emergency, but for the most part, those were for the teachers. I'm not excusing anything I did. There is definitely no excuse, but I do just want to say that it would have happened at that time at any job I worked at. If I was working at the movie theater, still would have happened there instead. It just so happened to be at the daycare, which makes everything so much more worse. I didn't even fully remember anything until people went on my OnlyFans and they found it for me. And a lot of people are saying that I'm still getting paid for those posts, so that they're still up, but they're not. I took those down already. And if you go to my OnlyFans.
So he's literally saying, it doesn't matter where I work. I'm going to make this content at work. Number one, I disagree with that. If you're running a site like that, you should not be using company resources, whether it's time, a place in the building. You should just not allow those two to commingle. That's how I feel. And number two, again, we go back to, you just don't do that when you work around children. What kind of demented person even thinks that that is a possibility?
You'll see I have thousands and thousands and thousands of posts, and I scrolled so far as much as I could to find them all, and it was probably like 4 or 5 different posts. There's no reason or excuse I shouldn't have waited till I got home. I guess I was just too focused on the money, and at that time I hadn't started my social media career, or maybe I just started it, but I was really focused on the success I was getting on OnlyFans and all the money I was earning, and I used that money to start my shopping vlogs, and that's how I got started on social media full time. But I didn't become full time overnight. It took me over a year to start accumulating money like that, and then to start being successful on social media. Should I have done it? No. It was gross. It doesn't excuse anything, but at the same time, I hate when people call me names when I know it's not true, or people assume that I was doing stuff that I wasn't doing just because it was at a daycare. Where it was had nothing to do with what I was doing or what I was putting out or the people I was talking to. Those people did not know where I worked. Those people did not care where I work. I remember I did post in some of those groups before, like, I'm a teacher. I was trying to have that shock factor. I was trying to have that thing that makes me kind of different. A lot of the captions and the things I would use, like,
no, it does have everything. It has everything to do with what you were doing. This is going so far over his head. I don't understand. Like, maybe that's the problem. He's too stupid to recognize like why people are so disgusted by this. The location has everything to do with how disturbing this is.
Because I know whenever you post like that on your OnlyFans, people can see your captions, but they can't see the stuff that you're actually posting. Now, my work did know about my OnlyFans. I made a video about this a while ago, how people sent my news in like a letter to my bosses, and my bosses confronted me about it, but they completely had my back. They never judged me, but they found it disgusting that there were people online who were coming after me like that. And so we did what we could to protect myself and not let people know where I work anymore.
2 thoughts that I had. Number one, back when he mentioned the Reddit groups that he was in, where it was like dad son kind of stuff, like that's you're literally in groups that are circling back to PDF files. Like, those are not normal groups to even, like, why would you even want to look at what's going on in those groups? That's demented and weird. And number two, I don't necessarily believe that his job was so welcoming of this, because if you're in a management role and you're overseeing the protection of children and making sure that these kids are going to flourish, and this is their first step, like pre-K is their first step into their education journey, I don't necessarily by the fact that they would be like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. We have no issues with that, especially if any of those images were of him in their establishment. Like, why would anyone think, oh yeah, you're doing this in our building? That's okay. That it doesn't make sense.
And I know my full story, I know the truth, but that does not excuse what I did at the preschool, and that does not excuse. I also have racist tweets, which I know if I address this, people will bring that up. I have tweets from like 2014 where I said the most insane things. I said things about animals I shouldn't have said, like abusive, not sexual. And I said things about people, groups of people, Black people, Asian people. I was very much unhinged and kind of wild as a kid, and I don't want to use the house I lived.
I like how he just labels being a racist as unhinged. That's not being unhinged, that's being racist. So now, on top of being a complete creep, you're also a racist, and you just kind of like sprinkled that in there. I'm going to drop in a video from another TikTok creator that saved the tweets that were from Michael, so I will drop that in as well, because she saved it all and she did a good kind of like rundown of what the tweets were, so on and so forth. I just, way to like totally sprinkle that in there as if it's not encapsulating exactly who you are.
This is Michael DUVALL. He is a TikToker, social media influencer, whatever you want to call him. He's currently undergoing some major heat right now for a controversy in a daycare that I will get to, but I would like to start from the beginning on. One of his first controversies, I should say one because there's many, is he liked to use the N-word with the hard R on Twitter, and I got receipts. This one wasn't even the worst one. I think he privated this account by now. I think I heard that, but I mean, there's a lot. In 2020, I believe Michael had created his OnlyFans, and there wasn't a problem with that. I mean, do what you want to do to get extra money, like go sis go. But there's some stuff on there that leans towards, as well as acting like a minor, little boys, little girls. This is a selfie, so like I don't really have too much of a problem with it, besides the fact that the watermark, and he took this in the daycare. So that's This is where I'm kind of like, and I truly believe like this is gross, because the whole little girl, little boy content is disgusting to me. He also would post this on his OnlyFans sometimes saying, someone snapped me while I'm at work. He was working at the daycare during this. Let's not forget this tweet, since everyone seems to forget. Now I can't show you this because the last time I tried it got taken down, but imagine what is behind my head right now. That toilet is a training toilet for children. There's other sister locations, people have come out that have worked at sister locations, and they said that at least at their location, the children's bathrooms did not have locks. So if that's the case with this one, a child could have walked in at any time.
Our assistant and like the team, like they were nothing but supportive of me the whole time that I worked there, and anything that I did outside of work was outside of work.
But Michael, it wasn't outside of work. You made that content with kids on the other side of the door that you can hear. Even though you were off the clock, why were you there then? Maybe it was after your shift, I don't know, but that's awfully strange. And to do that and say that you got paid to do that specific thing is sus. It is catering to PDF files, because not only do you have kids in the background showing off potty seats when your camera turns. Since this has been brought into life, I've seen Michael go from 949,000 followers to 929, so he's lost a good 20,000 in the last 2 days. In his video where he addresses it, it's not an apology at all. He won't even acknowledge himself saying the words about what happened. Instead, he says that he made a mistake, but I guess he made this mistake twice or more that we don't know. Not gonna lie, the girlies are probably gonna take this down, but that is my start to finish of what I know so far.
In as an excuse, there really is no excuse, but I do want to just like.
Oh, and by the way, about the tweets that he was talking about being abusive to animals. See, here's the thing. People like Michael should really just go away from society for a while and reflect on the things that they're doing. They should not be allowed to continue to exist like this. In fact, I think he should be deplatformed. I don't think that you should be able to be this kind of person and still sit on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and continue to make money. That is simply wrong, and I will never agree with it. If you are a terrible person, you should not be allowed to monetize on social media.
Let you know that the person I've been on social media this whole last few years, the person you've seen me grow into the last year specifically, that's the person who I am today. And so that's why I acted so removed from that and almost like I didn't care or something, because it was so long ago in my mind that it's not I didn't care, it's just it doesn't resonate with me anymore. I was also doing a lot of drugs, and I know I said I didn't want to bring up any excuses, but that's just partially why I don't really remember everything. And so seeing it come to light, it's almost like me seeing it for the first time, because I've completely shut it out of my mind, blocked it out. What I did was wrong, and I know a lot of people are going to say I'm only coming on here because...
How many times does he say, I don't want to bring up any excuses, but I don't want to bring up any excuses, but here's an excuse. Here is some reasoning, but this, but that. This is a complete dumpster fire.
I'm getting a lot of hate, and I don't know what to say to that besides, I guess, yeah, you're right, I'm getting a lot of hate, and it makes you really think, and it's really hard to not believe what people are saying about you. But I just wanted to tell you guys my story. I wanted to tell you the truth from my mouth, because I know hearing it from rumors, it can sound a lot worse than it was. I promise you, no kids were ever involved. What I did in that bathroom had nothing.
No, people are not giving you hate. They're giving you their very unfiltered opinions because you were making inappropriate content in a pre-K bathroom. That's not hate. Let's make sure that we're clear on that.
To do about the building I was in. I know I let a lot of people down, and the people I let down the most is mothers and people with kids and people who thought they could trust me and knew who I was. I just want to say I'm truly sorry. I never meant to make anyone question the type of person I was. I never meant to hurt anyone. I never meant to make those mistakes. And people say they weren't mistakes, they were choices, which is absolutely true. I chose to do that stuff. I regret it so much. It's just not the person who I am anymore, and I would hope that people who love me and really care about me can see me for the person who I am, the person who I have been. But if you choose to unfollow me or you choose to not support me, please go ahead. But wasting the church's time by sending people to my door is not the right thing to do. People said that they let the authorities know, and for that I'm just going to say, like, let them know, let them come at me and check me, because there's absolutely nothing. I was never coming from a place of ill intent whenever I was doing it. I guess I just don't really know what else to say, and I didn't really want to say anything just because I feel like that's not who I am anymore, so that's why I ignored it. I know this video is going to be so long. I know you don't even care about that. I don't know why I said that, but I just want you to hear the story and the truth from my mouth. People have a way of making it sound a lot worse than it really was, and I know it was bad, but there was truly no ill intention. So
you want to say that you were not coming from a place of ill intent. What kind of intent did you have when you were doing that in a pre-K bathroom? Because I can confirm for a fact that nobody with a normal kind of perspective on anything would ever think that that is an okay idea. And you did not only do it once, you did it several times, more than a few.
I was heartbroken. I was going through a lot in my life, and the only thing I had control over was my OnlyFans. And so I was really hyped for it at the moment, but when I joined social media, I realized that's where my focus was at, and that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And, well, maybe not the rest of my life, but what I wanted to do full time while I could. I know there's people who are still going to hate me. I know there's people who are never going to believe me no matter what, and I just wanted to come on here and tell my truth.
Okay, Michael, I'm going to cut it short because you are literally making me want to take a nap. Here's my whole thing. This is obviously somebody that is not going to fully be held accountable. Someone said that the daycare is no longer in business. It's not even operating anymore. I don't know if that's true. But anybody who is sitting there defending this, y'all need to have yourselves checked as well, because nothing about this is somebody, oh, they're just making a certain kind of content. That's just what they do. That is not this. And in fact, my maybe unpopular opinion is that his OF should also be banned. He should not be allowed to do this and then continue to get paid on that site. Same with TikTok and all of that. But I'm really focused on the OF because it's obviously something that he is obsessed with and has made him money. So why don't we throw it in the bin along with all the other social media? But anyway, that's what's going on with Michael. Very disturbing, and I can only imagine how the parents of those children felt if they do know about this coming to light. Just completely devastated, I'm sure. This is why you have people that do not trust daycares. They don't trust daycare center workers, and that really sucks because there are a lot of really amazing daycare centers out there with employees that are top tier. They're just really, really good people. And then you have situations like this, and it starts to, make the respect a little more blurry because people think about the one bad egg, so to speak. But I think that's enough for today. This really made my stomach turn in the worst way possible. So that's it for today. If you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.